Today on Down with Dedee, my mom will be having a conversation with Mariel Hemingway.
Mariel, thank you for coming on my show, Down with Dedee, girl.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. It's so fun to be here.
Mariel, I want to thank you for coming on. I was already on your podcast. It was such an honor being on there. And it's so funny because our paths keep kind of crossing. And yet
I
we
know.
actually now just are celebrating a baby, brand new, fresh, like friendship, which I'm really
I
enjoying.
know. I'm
Right?
enjoying it too. And who knows where it's going to take us?
Well,
Who
the
knows?
sky's the limit, girl. But we'll go to the paranormal
That's
in a minute.
exactly right. That's exactly right. You know what? It's so funny to be the age that I am, and I think you're just a little bit behind me. But
I'm 59.
I
59.
I'm 61. So
No,
but
you're
it's
not.
good. Yes, I am. Yes.
You stop. No, really?
Oh, stop. No.
Girl, okay. Okay, so
Yes.
you're sleeping in formaldehyde, or maybe like me, you've got a great plastic surgeon.
No,
I
I
think
got
I got
I
a
don't
great,
have a
he's very
plastic
cute.
surgeon, but when I need one, I'm definitely going to call you
Oh,
because you definitely.
Ben and Robert are the men who really put me back together again when I fell apart during my or after my, when I got into recovery after my addiction, after I
Wow.
really did a job on myself. They just put me back together like Humpty Dumpty.
Well, you look amazing. So whatever it is, it's good. Well, you know about my husband's. I mean, he's really not my husband, but I've been with him so long that we call each other wife and husband. And I'm like, "Are you going to give me a ring at some point?"
Oh,
He's like, "No, I'm going to give you a horse." I'm like,
oh, wait a
"What?"
minute. That's really
Yeah,
sexy.
he's like, "Oh, I think I'll just give you a horse." I'm like, "Oh."
But
Which
wait,
would be nice actually to get a horse.
well, listen, I'm already divorced 3 times. I'm done with that. I would love a horse. Does he have a brother? We'll talk about this off camera,
Yeah.
B camp.
Okay.
Yeah, when we
Okay.
cut this,
All right.
girl,
Fair enough.
I love how
Yeah, I
sexy.
know. I know. It's
I have
pretty cool.
3 rings.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he's got a chamber that like pressurizes you at different altitudes. And it's going to be a game changer for longevity and high performance athletes and blah, blah, blah. So we'll just go in there and do our podcast from going up and down in altitude.
Oh my God, I love that. It's like a chamber. Is it like a tube? You just go in and lay there? You
No,
sit?
it's a chamber. It's big enough to have exercise equipment in it or a zero
Oh,
gravity chair for recovery. It's amazing. Light,
oh.
sound, vibration, super cool.
Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Is this something you guys are starting together? Or is that already out there? What
I
is the
mean,
spa, gym?
no, it's not out there. This is unique and new. There are things that do similar things, but no one has exercise inside and has all these other elements that we put into it. It's pretty cool. We're super excited about just the possibilities of being able to help people. We're tired of people being like sick and unhealthy and like,
Yeah.
I think that it's lifestyle and it's making different choices, but there's the world is changing and we're
Yes.
about to open up into this whole new. I mean, things are going to be different.
Well, I got to tell you, you're not the first person I've had on Down with Dedee, but also in life when I talk to other people and also the shows that I watch on Gaia, everyone's saying the same thing. I feel like something's about to change. I don't know
Yes.
what it is. Some of us understand a little bit clearer what it is, which means
Yeah.
getting closer to our authentic self, ignoring
Yep.
the noise, keeping our poise, and looking at life in a higher frequency,
Yes.
and just kind of getting away from all of this crap that is noise by design, keep us dizzy and busy so we don't get to this place of
Of
where we really can heal and really be happy and join with others of the same like
Yeah.
mind, because we're very
Yeah,
powerful when we
absolutely. I
unite.
mean, that the idea that you can unlock from thought, from belief systems that have just held you back, and they're nothing more than thoughts in your head that you
Yes.
keep repeating. I mean, that's what's so unique about, all of this stuff. When you realize that you repeat 80 to 90,000 thoughts every single day, repeated day after day, year after year, whatever. And when you realize that and you start to kind of come to this understanding, it's like, if I want to think new thoughts, I want to
Right.
think new thoughts. I want to dream of big things. And that's what, I really feel, even though, yeah, I'm 61, I feel like this is the beginning of my life. Like,
Oh, well, you know what I always call this? I'm 59 and I got sober 5 years ago. I just had my rebirthday. Most people call it their sober birthday. I call it my rebirth day. My rebirth day,
oh,
because
I
that's
like that.
exactly what it was. The day I
Wow.
went to rehab, I went, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen next, but all I know is what I was doing wasn't working. I was slowly dying. But here we go. I'm going into it feet first, eyes closed, all heart, all mind. Oh my God, and give up it all and talk about giving up old thoughts. It's so
Yeah,
important. And this is CBT, the triad. You think, you feel, then you respond, right? But when you
absolutely.
talk in a clinical way, people check out. But what the way
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
yeah, right? I get that. But what you're saying is actually so palatable. They're old thoughts,
Yes.
man. Old thoughts keep us in old feelings. Old feelings keep us in the same old
And old
behaviors.
behaviors. Yeah. Old habits. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. And when you decide that you're worthy of thinking new thoughts and that you're worthy of the life that you want to have, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I think you do have to address those old things to
Yeah.
know what they are, because you have to go down that road and go, okay, well, my second grade teacher like really messed me or whatever, or my mother or my father or, whatever nonsense story we have. But once you tell the story, then you get to make different choices. Because, like, why do we think? Because that's people living in the past, right?
Yeah.
That's the constant, like, commiserating over what happened to you. It's not that horrible things might have happened to many, many people, like whatever. I mean, but at some point you have to let go of the story and move on and decide, okay, that happened to me. Now what do I get to create? Because we're all on the precipice of some new creation.
Girl, you hit it on the head. And I love that you said that, because I heard something one day in the middle of my rehab, intensive rehab, didn't see my kids, family, nothing for 30 days, no TV or phones, electronics, very intense. And let me tell you, talk about peeling the onion. Oh, ouch. But at one point, someone said, and I don't remember who it was, but they said, I have a story. I'm not my story.
Yes, that's
And all that
exactly.
went ding, ding,
Yep.
ding, ding, ding in my head. Like, no, I went, wait a minute, wait a minute. What did you just say? And I went,
Exactly.
you just wrapped up my life. I had chills. I started bawling. I'm like,
Yes.
I became my story. And I
Yeah.
decided from that day on, I have to turn this car around, which means starting with my thoughts,
Yep. That's
right?
100% right. That's so cool. Yeah, because we don't need to be defined by what we did a million years ago or what somebody said about us, or, the list is long, but it's like I used to define myself by how other people thought of me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I was like a basket case. Oh shit. Oh, like if you don't like me, like then I must be a bad person, like all
That's
the,
me. I'm a people pleaser. Oh my God, love me,
oh,
like me. Otherwise, I will just curl up in a ball in the corner and cry all day. And back in the day, drink a bottle of wine. But now I might curl up in the, but then I go, well, wait a minute. Let's think this through. What would you tell your followers, Dee, about that? But lean into the pain. We're also really afraid of how that might be painful.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
okay that it hurts your feelings if somebody said something like, you're ugly. You're like, whoa. Well, for me, I'd be like, whatever. That's on you, not me. I mean, although there are some days that look in the mirror and I'd have to say, well, I can't disagree with them. But then there's other things where you go, whoa, that was really snarky or a little mean, actually a
Yeah.
lot mean.
Yeah.
But when you hit someone's core, like then all of a sudden,
That,
I'm gonna say, hold on, I'm sorry, can you
hold
repeat
on.
that one
Wait.
did you just say? That
Yeah.
went right to my heart and that kneecapped me. That would put me on the floor and make me cry.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
difference is I have to ask
Absolutely.
myself, ask yourself, Dee, like an investigator, where's
Yes.
the evidence to support that statement?
Yeah. Right.
Are you rising to the occasion now that you're sober? Absolutely. Showing what recovery looks like? Absolutely. So, you have to almost like go through all this thing, but running from that is the problem. When someone hurts your
Yes.
feelings, right? Running from it is where you're
Right.
actually going to get in trouble and it's going to end up hurting more than
But
leaning.
you have to dig into it, and you have to say, look, usually something comes from somebody else.
Yeah,
It's really about them.
totally. Yeah.
No, I mean, even if it's like you're right, you're not a good mom, whatever it is, even if it gets you at the core, you really have to ask yourself, is this really about me?
Yeah.
Because anybody, I mean, I make a judgment of somebody else. Who am I? Who am I to judge anybody else's? You don't know the shoes they're walking in. You don't know what their story is. I mean, even if they're heinous people, it's like, look, I don't have the right to be judgmental of anyone,
Right.
even though
Well,
I have done some judging.
well, I'm going to say, I've caught myself being a little snarky and a little
Yes,
judgy. And I'll say, well, that's not the sexier part of you, Dee. But I'm like,
yes.
but it's true. I'm sorry, the guy's a jackass. Sorry. I'm sorry. But I will say in my random thoughts on my Instagram, when you walk into any one room at any one time, when you leave that room, what do you want them to say behind your back? And that's how you conduct yourself when you're in the room. Do you want them to,
Absolutely.
right? When you leave the room, do you want them to say, who crapped in her cornflakes? What a jerk. What do you want them to go, wow, that was a breath of fresh air. Or she's so
Yeah.
funny. Or, oh, well, that was really nice. Or I don't know why, just smiling after she left or he
Yeah,
left. Or they left.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You control your energy.
I think that that's something that's kind of missing. Maybe I'm wrong, but like the generation that's kind of coming up now, it's like they're not taught, and maybe that's manners. Maybe that's the generation we grew up in. We grew up in, like, how would I want to come into a room? Like, how would I want to feel, like that to me is, I don't know, maybe it's manners. I don't know what it is, but there's something missing. I think kids don't have that connection. Maybe it's a parental thing. I don't know. I mean, I know my girls do it, but they're kind of, they're in their 30s. So they're not like kid. I don't know.
I
But
heard something.
I miss that. I think that
Yeah.
it's taking responsibility for how you show up, right?
I heard something last night actually on Gaia, and I think it goes hand in hand with what you're saying, and it's so profound. And I think this might be it. I don't know. I have no idea, but it certainly makes sense. What happens is that when people lose faith in religion, spirituality, or anything that is alive, and we don't view each other as human beings versus an AI replaceable thing. If you think that your soul in this body, in this lifetime, that's it, if you
Right.
literally think that is it, then of course you're going to think my soul is something that's not real or alive. You're going to think almost on in an AI term, versus when you nurture one's soul, you respond to human beings differently when you really embrace that. And I think they're missing that element of humanitarianism that
Yes.
and I think it is a loss of fundamental things that once connected us, that we're getting further away. I'm not going to blame everything on AI, of course not, but I don't think it's helping.
But I think technology has created a separation and a duality that is unnecessary. Now, it doesn't mean it's never going to go away. Technology, there's going to be more AIs, like, don't get scared, like, get with it, but also put boundaries around it. You know what I mean? Just say, look, this is not who it's another thing. It's like, this doesn't define me.
Right.
Like that stuff is technical. So somebody wants to create a me that is not me. Okay, that's on them. But I know who I am. And I know that I can turn this crap off, because I also think that we were brought up differently when, in the summer, I left the house at like 9 a.m. and came back when it was dark and rode my bike all around. And, and if you couldn't get anybody on the phone in your house with that long cord,
Yep.
you didn't talk to them until they were home, right?
It's funny. I said I never had a watch or a cell phone. How did you know to get home? Honestly, it was Belizean time. I went to Belize and they didn't have any watches. They would watch the sun, and that's how they could tell what time it was. And I thought, what a beautiful way to live. But as I looked down at my watch, going, oh my God, we're going to miss a plane before it got commercialized. But we used to run around stepping on tacks because we were barefoot. That's something else, by the way. Barefoot. Yeah. Do you know that there's not thank you, that this whole synthetic thing on the bottom of our feet are disconnecting us from the vibrations of Mother Earth? That's
100%. You know that I was part of the earthing movie. I mean, Bobby and I walk barefoot all the time. When he started me doing it, I mean, I did it as a kid. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And then I went through all the years of like not doing it. And Bobby was always walking barefoot. And one day we're on a trail and he's like, you need to take your shoes off. And I was like, no, okay. So I took my shoes off. I was like, ow. And I was so pissed, but then I got used to it. And over time, it is one of the great things. I mean, people don't realize when you travel, if you go and like finds a piece of grass where you've traveled to and just like put your feet on the ground for 20 minutes, you'll get over jet lag like that. It's crazy.
It is true. Science is proving because the earth,
Yes.
Mother Earth is energy and we are energy. And when we
Yes.
put something synthetic in between, we're disconnected. Another way to once it gets disconnected from energy, communicate people, being in
Yeah.
harmony. So it's a simple thing. And like you said, it's taking your shoes off. It can even be in your home. I
Yeah.
started doing this about a year or two ago. I just started taking my shoes off and I can't remember, I couldn't find them. And I was like, oh, and I walked through the house, stepping on cat balls, treats, food, dog treats, slime. And besides all that nastiness, I went, wow, whoa, my feet. They haven't felt like the floor in a long time that it wasn't carpeted. It was just
Yeah.
I'm in a rental. It's just a hardwood floor, but still I went, wow, oh my God, why am I freaking out about how awesome? I don't know why, but this is beautiful. And then I walked all the way outside like you with rocks and everything to take the trash
Yeah.
out. Took me 5 minutes longer because I didn't want to step on everything that was out there, right? Because some things weren't picked up. But I was like, I'm loving walking
It's
barefoot, and my spirits went up.
amazing. Absolutely. Well, the other day, Melissa, because Melissa's on my podcast, right? She's
Yeah.
my partner on that. So not that long ago, I was feeling kind of low and like low energy, kind of depressed, whatever. So I was out walking and I looked down and I was like, why do I have my shoes on? So I took my shoes off and I started walking. And within 10 minutes, the energy had shifted totally. I went from being kind of in this low state. I called her when I got back in the car and I was like, it's so clear that we can heal ourselves of so many things. We would just pay attention to Mother Nature is just, I think that it's the biggest healer. The earth
She
will
is.
heal you.
She will
Yes.
heal us. She gives us
Yes.
plants and animals and all sorts of things and water and just, she
Yeah.
gives us opportunities, and
Yeah.
all we have to do in return is take care of her. And I don't want to be all like preachy on my soapbox because that's not how I am. But for me, in my recovery, I don't have a God. Mother Earth is my God. She's my higher power.
Yeah.
Who's bigger and more powerful than you? That's it, right? It can be
Yeah.
that doorknob. I don't know. But for me, Mother Earth,
Absolutely.
yeah, when I stop and breathe, I think about her and I get very humbled and very grateful, and she keeps me centered. And I know, like you said, she'll heal me if I just let it all go and
Yep.
give it up to my good thoughts and the love in my heart and support
Yeah.
around me, and just, do the next indicated step in the right direction.
100%. I mean, I've always thought that nature was God. I mean, that's kind of, to me,
Sure.
they're interconnected. I've always thought that. I always thought, I look out at trees and it's so beautiful, and I just think, what a blessing. And
Yeah.
and for us to open up our eyes to really see the great gifts, and why we have to be so careful of taking care of her. You know what I
Well,
mean? I mean, we just have to, because it's gotten to critical mass because so many people are oblivious and this and that. And you're so great, like, don't send me a bunch of products, a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to use, and I'm going to throw away all the packaging. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
And this thoughtless behavior has grown exponentially, and it's it is destroying the planet, and we have to do something about it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I think it starts with baby steps. I think
Mhm.
it starts with being mindful. But I've got to, I always talk to my boys. I said, we're not going to become zero waste overnight. That's impossible. It didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to change overnight. But I think the very beginning stages is just being mindful,
Yes.
staying in your own lane, doing it yourself.
Yes.
Others will look over and say, hey, I noticed that your
Your
toilet paper looks
backyard.
weird.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's your home, your backyard, and that affects other people because they
it
look
does.
around and go, gosh, it's really nice over there. Like, they're doing a really nice. It's like, you don't have to say anything.
No.
That's how I feel about all like healthy choices. It's like, just be an example. You
Yeah.
never have to force anybody to do anything, and they'll either realize it or move on and they're not your people, or they'll eventually be like curious and ask questions in the right timing.
Mariel, let me ask you a question, and I love this. I'm dying to find out. Do you believe in the paranormal or
I do
supernatural?
believe in the paranormal. I mean, I don't you say paranormal and it sounds like
I know. Do do do
Blood
do.
Zone or something. But I do. I mean, I can't think that we are, I mean, especially what we're learning right now, and it's all coming out that everybody, like there's aliens and this and that. Of course there are. We can't be the only life form in a universe that is enormous. It is so much bigger. And this tiny, beautiful blue and green little planet can't be the only life form. Whoever's out there is looking at us and going, geez, they still do that? Or they're
I
just
know.
what is it? AI? I mean, now we just think thoughts. We just think thoughts and things happen. And then, and things, you think you want things cleaned up, it's cleaned up, right? And to me, of course, there's other life form. Now, I don't know. I'm a little scared I might see it, which is a little, I'm a little scared of what I've never seen before because I've never seen it. But I would be, I'm up for it.
Now, let me ask you a question. It's funny. It's something that we call it the unknown, right? The unexplainable.
Yeah, exactly.
And you said you would be scared. Now, let me ask you a question. Who told you to be scared?
I'm scared. I'm only scared thinking about what I don't know.
There you go.
I'm not, nobody's told me to be scared. I'm just like, what will it, like, what would I do if that came in and I'd never seen an alien being or a whatever?
Yeah.
I would be like,
well,
what the heck? Although, the other night, this is really interesting. I was walking the dogs. It was night and it was just at dusk and it was starting to get a really black sky. And I was looking up at the stars and, you're looking at the constellations, and all of a sudden I see these like dots of light and they look like something. But they were going in one direction and then they would kind of disappear and then they came back. And I was like, oh, and this was a few months ago. So it was in like late winter, early spring. And I gotta say, I just sat there going, and I tried to like take a video, like I was like dorky but it was cool. I was excited.
Yeah.
So I wasn't scared. I was excited. I thought, wow, that doesn't look like something. And it didn't look like a satellite. It didn't, like in the past, everybody, there was this.
Well, they're all weather balloons
airplane.
too.
Yeah.
They're all weather balloons. Yeah. Of course.
But it was so bizarre because it was like seven tracks of like light.
Yeah.
And then they would dissipate and then they would come back. And then they were kind of going and then they like went away completely. But super bright and it wasn't a constellation. And I was like, I think that was something.
I know. You're like,
what it is, but I think that was something.
What you do immediately as a human being is we try to make sense of it. Doesn't behave like an airplane. It doesn't look like drones. Doesn't look like helicopters. It could be an army. You go through all this stuff, but people are like, what? Because I had the similar experience in New Mexico. You bet I did. And people are like, why didn't you record it? Why didn't you record it? I'm like, I always thought that too. Like, why are you people who say you saw something? Why aren't you recording? I'll tell you why. Because when I sat there like you and I went, my mind went, wait. First you go like this. Wait. Am I? Like, I got like, am I seeing one?
Are you imagining that? Have you seen this before? Maybe they're shooting stars, like do and they're like shot out of a gun. I mean, I was like,
drones can look very UFO-ish, right? But people don't realize when they haven't had that experience that what all the stuff that your brain goes through before I could even find my phone. Yeah, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
That was me. I was fumbling, and my hands were cold.
Yeah,
whatever.
And then and then there was a part of me that didn't want to film it because I really wanted to experience it. I wanted to see it.
Right.
And I just sat there, and I said after my experience, what I saw something the behavior was just not. I don't know. I still can't explain it to this day. And of course, everybody in New Mexico goes, "Oh yeah, you saw one. You saw one." Unlike here, where here they put you on the crazy train, and all of a sudden you've got people getting you institutionalize you, and said, "Oh, she's drinking again." She said she saw one. And not in New Mexico. They actually have magazines, right? When you check out, like a UFO, like People magazine, but it's like a UFO, and it has all these stories of, and
Isn't all that stuff coming out? I mean, it's
oh,
all coming out, right? Like they're starting to say, and the pilots are starting to go, I've
oh,
been seeing things for years,
yeah,
this, that, and the other thing. I mean, of course, you can't, I mean, they have to have seen
yeah.
things. You have to have been in a plane going, what was that?
I love what you said, because I say that all the time. I know that our brothers and sisters and neighbors upstairs is what I call them, or our neighbors downstairs, down deeps in the sea, are literally looking at a lot of our mankind behavior and go, "You're joking me, right?"
Right.
Something, your God, whatever you want to call it, or whatever, maybe them, whatever, gave you an opportunity to live on this beautiful blue planet. And you even gave her a name, Mother Earth. And it's like hurting your mother. Would you ever? Well, some people probably would, I guess, right? For
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
buck, they would roll right over their
Yeah,
mother.
right.
Um, I know that 95% of all mankind would never roll over their own mother, for an almighty buck. And I still believe in mankind. I do believe we're going to turn this around. And we're going to do it with our podcast, right?
Absolutely do. And all of us, yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
It just starts with our little conversation, or it doesn't start, it continues. There's a lot of people that really care.
Yeah, they
Like
do.
there's so many people in my world. What's funny is you start to live a more kind of conscious, aware life, and you just gravitate to the people. I mean, like you've come into our lives, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And that's what happens, so that I don't actually see those other people, and I don't really engage in the internet in a big way. I kind of post things because you should post things.
Yeah, our followers like to
Kind
kind
of
of
thing,
see
and
pictures of your dog, and yeah.
I love sharing good things, right? So, but I don't, if you don't focus on what you don't want and the negative, I really think that it encourages healthier things to come about. And it's not saying that you shouldn't do things about things that are wrong, or speak out. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I just think there's a big difference between being in the solution and being in the problem. And if you're
Absolutely.
sitting there continuously pointing fingers and in the blame game, you're still in the problem. We could sit all day and discuss until we're blue in the face how in the hell we got here. But is that really going to move us forward? No. We know how we got here. Let's stop all that nonsense. And now, but what can we now do differently to get us back on track? That is being in the solution, and that inspires people and gives people hope. And then you can also share with them things they can do. If they're loud and proud, want to go grab a sign, great, pick it. If you're just more quiet and demure, you can do things at home. If you're all electronically inclined, there's things you can do that way. Or if you don't have a dollar to give to this cause, send the link to your friend down the street who you know's got a job. Hey, Johnny, do you want to? I can't give to this, but can you? Oh yeah, I'll give $5 to that. That's all. You're helping. You're part of the solution that way.
Yes, absolutely.
But certainly don't. I think sitting back, getting the fuckets. Well, I can't help. It's a mess anyways, and get the fuckets.
Yeah.
The fuckets. That's what I'm trying to prevent. I'm trying to help people not get that, because I know that years ago I got that's one of the reasons why I drank. I got the fuckets. I was like, the world's too messed up. There's no changing it. I'm just gonna drink.
Yeah.
Check out.
Yeah.
And it's so nice now not to be like, no, that's well.
And you do have to change your environment to get there. You have to change your community has to support you. And you have to be in a supportive community where you're supporting that idea and that deal,
And what I love is I have friends of all culture, sizes, ages, whatever, and they're all different political, whatever. I'm not political at all, but not, some of them don't believe in any of the supernatural, paranormal, but they know I do. So there's all of this give and take, and there's this where we come together is the common denominator, where we're in sync when it comes to Mother Earth, the environment, love, compassion. We may not we may disagree on other things, but that's other stuff, and that's not going to be in the solution if we focus on where we're different versus where we're in. Right, where we're the same or similar.
Yeah.
Okay. What animal would you like to be reincarnated as, and why? See my big bad boy back here, my spirit animal.
Wow, that's impressive. I wish I had a picture of a hawk, because I believe that I would come back as a hawk. I would like to, anyway, I've always, since I was a child, wanted to be a hawk. I've always wanted to be that bird. Like, I don't know, there's something like any books that I read as a kid that were kind of fantasy-ish, and then the hawk that became a person. I don't know. I'm fascinated. I love the way they look. They look majestic. There's something, I don't know, that it's like they have a message. And I truly believe in the Native American sort of like, these symbols and the power of those symbols, but also to be able to fly. Hello.
My sister did the movie called Lady Hawk. Do you
I
remember?
was thinking that and it came out of my mouth, and I thought, oh, that would be so creepy if I say something.
That's crazy. That is.
But I love that.
Yeah.
I love that movie because of that. I was like, oh, that's me. Oh, that could be me. Oh, and I was once called Michelle, and I was really excited. Once.
Well, you look just like my
oh,
sis. You
They're
look
like,
just
are you
like her.
Michelle Pfeiffer? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
today?
Uh-huh,
Did I do?
Yeah. You do look like her. Oh my God, you guys are both gorgeous.
Not really.
I'm going to tell her that you said that you wanted to come back as a hawk, and then we made the correlation. It's funny because the way she interviewed for that, I'm sure she's told the story. She was doing clever stuff way back there, which got me the idea. When I started acting, she did the tape, and then she had a fade, and then she went to well, not at that moment, but she went before, and she bought a bird at the bird store and put it on the chair. So she faded out when she got done putting herself on tape, and then she faded it back in, and then there was a bird sitting where she was sitting at the end. And that, besides her being acting, got me the role because she basically turned herself into a bird for the interview on the video.
She's so smart. I love her.
I love shit like that.
Okay.
I know the teaching.
I do too.
I'd be
And
like,
I'd be like, why didn't I think of that?
yeah.
I think of that.
God, well, you look like her, so you're 50% there. Mariel,
Well, I love that.
I can't thank you enough for coming on my show. You are such a dream. Oh, I just love that we're friends. I love new friends like you.
Friends too. I love that how the world is just like, and now we're like getting glued together. It's good.
Yeah, like I share guests, you share my guests. We're just helping each other, and then we're gonna help other people.
Yeah.
We're gonna help we're gonna save the world and all the animals.
Absolutely. 100%. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetie. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
For more information on today's guest, check out the show notes below or visit our website at www.downwithdedee.com.